I can.
I have. Yeah, it says it's being recorded, but I don't know if anybody can hear me. Hey, can anybody hear us? Please send a chat. We're having technical difficulties. Please let me know if you can hear me. This has never happened before. How do you unmute?
I would log out and log back in, Kelly.
That's going to make everybody's screen go blank. Hang on, somebody's texting me. Okay, somebody says they can hear me on the web.
Good.
So, good deal. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me send a meeting type message here. Can you hear me? To the entire audience. Let's just send that out there.
And I would start over.
All right, folks. Hey, we're hopefully everybody's hearing me. I've sent a message to ask. I've got one message from Mike. Thank you for that. Hang on, my text is going off. Maybe you're saying you can hear me. Let me look. All right, somebody's saying they got me and Matt, so let's hope that everybody can hear us on the phone as well. This is Kelly Anderson. Welcome to the October edition of the Recruiting Insider. 3 life skills that change everything. And man, I tell you what, I'm going to continue this topic long term because there's actually, or I'll come back to it. There's more than just 3 that we could certainly talk about. I was just up here. I'm in Pittsburgh today. Just did a presentation on management and leadership to a large group of technician managers. And man, when you get on this subject, there is so much that you can talk about, and frankly, that absolutely changes lives, changes companies, changes departments. For this group I was talking to today, they're looking at numbers, that they haven't met yet, and finally it came down to the point that says, hey, what would you say is the leading reason that your department is not reaching the numbers that you want? You've had some improvement, but not all. And the response has been, or was, one of the responses is because my folks don't understand how to define success. And they don't understand what steps it takes to get there. And they don't know the numbers. One of the common denominators of companies that are having high turnover rate, high empty trucks, low productivity and profitability numbers, is that the employees don't know the number. So they don't know what the truck counts are. They don't know what the turnover rate is and such, and they don't know what their part is in helping to achieve the results they want. So we may, continue on and talk about some of those things as well in future meetings. But having said that, I do want to mention this. Our next Recruiting Insider is going to be done on November 15th. I will be at the ATA Safety Management Council. I'll find a private room. That won't be a live presentation like we tried to do from the Workforce Builders. This will be just a private thing like I'm doing today from my hotel room. But that's on November 15th at 10 a.m. Central. But I also want to mention that the Safety Management Council conference is happening November 14th to the 16th. Matt and I will be there. Folks, I am the chairman of the Recruiting, Retention, and Driver Wellness Committee. And if to be a member of the Safety Management Council is $350 a year. And so it's not expensive. And if you want to be a part of a committee that is working to frankly shape what we are doing in trucking, come and help me on this Recruiting, Retention, and Driver Wellness Committee. There is no more important topic in our industry today than those 3 topics, and I need your help on that committee. We've got some things we're working on, and don't have time to mention them here. That might be a subject for the Recruiting Insider in November. We'll see if we share some of the agenda items that we have on that committee, because it's definitely going to change trucking, I believe. So with that being said, Matt Lee from Ramsey Media is with us, and I certainly appreciate Matt's continual support of the Recruiting Insider and his contributing, and also to HireRight. I appreciate them sending this to their clients and support as well. And by the way, Matt and I are doing a webinar for HireRight. If you're a HireRight customer, and I bet you even if you're not, you can get an invite to it. We're doing a webinar for HireRight on October 25th at 1 p.m. Central. It's an hour long, and it is on the topic of recruiting techniques that work, new recruiting techniques that work. And we'll be talking about advertising, things that we're seeing working. I mean, lead the field stuff. The results, if you want results, that's what we're talking about in this webinar, advertising and recruiting techniques. Also, I guess I'll go ahead and mention, since I'm on kind of a talking about future events thing here, is on November 9th at 1 p.m. Central, we're doing I'm doing another HireRight webinar, and that one's going to be on proactive driver retention. Frankly, it's going to be the one I did for the Recruiting Insider recently with Amanda Gallagher. We're going to expand that content because we don't have 30 minutes or, frankly, 20 minutes. We have an hour to present, and so she's going to go much more in much more detail, as am I, on that webinar as well. So if you don't have an invite for that, please let me know. Shoot it to me, shoot it to your HireRight rep, and we'll certainly get you signed up for that. Having said that, man, I need to get quiet and let you get going. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Kelly. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful morning here in Missouri. We got some fall colors out on the trees, so the seasons are definitely changing. So hopefully everybody out there is having a good morning as well. Today, you're going to talk about three things that are life-changing. I'm going to actually just talk about one thing, and it's one Facebook skill that changes everything. And I think this is one of the most overlooked, underused, but extremely easy to do. And I just want to kind of explain how this works and why you should be doing this. First of all, we have the opportunity to manage lots and lots of Facebook accounts for folks, and so we have the opportunity to see different things that are working out there and things that get that engagement. And I just want to share with you what that is today. So basically, what we need to do, that one skill, is we have to listen. Social media, I think today more people just think we actually just have to speak, and we've just got to continue to put comments out there, and that's actually just not true. We have to take the time to listen to what our community has to say out there. And sometimes, I'm going to get into that here in just a minute, but sometimes those are not they're not fun to hear. But there are ways that we might be able to take action in that. So again, today, that one skill is listen and don't just talk. And so how do we listen? There's three ways that I kind of want to get into today. And the first is ask. You may be asking me right now, what in the world do you mean by that, Matt? You have to stop talking and listen. And one way to get your audience to talk is to ask. And so there's multiple different ways to do that, but one is literally you just need to ask them to talk. And so we actually work with a carrier. We have a whole lot of fun with this on Wednesdays. We actually invite people to share their comments, ask questions, and it's basically let's chew the fat. It says seriously. If you've got a question or a comment, we'd love to talk. So send us a message today. Now, obviously, you have to be prepared to be able to listen to those comments. And then the next piece of that is that we have to be attentive. We have to attend to the comments that are coming in. And so what I mean by that is that you're going to have a lot of feedback that's coming in, and a lot of questions. Hey, maybe it's about your hiring area, or maybe it's, hey, you know what, I have this qualification. Is that going to work? Or do you guys do lease purchase? Do you there's all kinds of different questions that get brought up in this ask session. So you've got to be able to have the folks there that are going to be able to attend to those questions. And then the last thing, once we have started receiving this engagement, is we have to listen to what people are saying. And unfortunately, it's not all going to be positive. That's one thing about Facebook is that we're going to get a lot of feedback. Most of it's going to be positive, but you are going to have some hard questions that you're going to have to deal with, and you can either deal with those publicly or privately. But what this allows us to do is to be able to take action. I recently did an interview, a video interview with a company, and one of the operations managers actually said, we were talking about home time, and he said, you know what, we used to be really, really bad at this. 5 years ago, it took us forever to get our drivers home, but we listened, and we made adjustments, and today we're pretty good at it. They're never more than 2 dispatches away from home. And so being able to listen to what your community is saying, being able to attend and continue to draw that feedback and to draw that communication out of folks. And then third thing is, again, being able to act upon that and making changes where needed. And sometimes it's easy changes, but sometimes we have to dig deep and look at those tough questions that are being brought up and criticisms and decide, maybe, you know what, we could make this minor change and be able to make a better route or better, maybe we can get them home a little sooner, or things like that are going to come up. So use Facebook. It's definitely a great tool to build your community, but again, listen, don't just talk. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Kelly.
Hey, Matt, I appreciate that. And by the way, I noticed I was able to look at my cell phone email, and thank you for Clarence and Amanda and different folks reaching out and saying, hey, we can hear everything you guys are saying. So, man, we had lots of people saying they could hear us. I just didn't have anything open where I could see that they were saying that they could hear us. But hey, appreciate everybody that's on here. So let's get into this thing. 3 life skills that change everything. And the very first one I want to talk about is live above the line. And folks, this was shared with me years ago. And when you first hear it, it kind of, oh, okay, that makes sense. But this thing will absolutely grow legs in your life and in your career. And it just, don't let it go, oh, okay, that's good, and let it go. Hang on to it, because it will change the outcome. And so what do I mean by that? I'm talking about above-the-line behavior is people taking ownership, responsibility, and accountability for their actions and the results that they get out of them. On the other hand, instead of taking ownership, below-the-line behavior is excuses. I'm sorry, I think I had you guys on speaker, which probably was terrible sounding. Now I've got you off speaker, which is excuses. Instead of taking responsibility, placing the blame on other people, other things, circumstances beyond your control, and accountability. Rather being accountable, people live in denial they had anything to do with it. A common place where I hear recruiters being below the line is, blaming the drivers for not calling back when they're supposed to call back, blaming drivers for not showing up to orientation, and blaming blaming drivers for, I hear operations and orientation, recruiting to companies every week saying, oh man, yeah, we told him in orientation. Why in the world is he asking that question now? We told him in orientation. Well, as long as you're willing to blame the driver for his lack of understanding what you taught him in orientation, Next week, you're going to say the same thing about the next group. You want to change that? Take ownership and responsibility and being accountable for the message that you're delivering in orientation and their comprehension of it. Fix your system to get the results that you want. So, David Broyles, the director of operations for Averitt Express, has this on his door. And if a fleet manager comes in or anybody comes to his office and they're below the line, he just points at the sign. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear you blaming other people, things, circumstances. Let's not be in denial that we couldn't do anything about it. Let's go above the line. And frankly, when you the webinar you heard, and if you didn't hear it and haven't heard it, guys, go to my website and listen to the proactive driver retention techniques that we did like 2 months ago with Amanda Gallegos from Stewart. And, that's an example of Kelly, of how, Kelly utilizing what I'm saying here. When I do a retention seminar with the fleet, we do the action. Well, let me just back up. I started 20 years ago. I started the Impact. January will be 20 years, by the way. And I started the Impact doing retention seminars. And I just had a sheet of paper outlined that, frankly, I gave to the attendees, which, by the way, was 100% different than the only other person I knew of at the time that did retention seminars. He just got up and talked. So I gave my folks a handout. Well, then, I'm like, man alive, I'm not getting the results I want here. How do I get better results? Well, so I created a better handout. So it was like 30-page handout now that we worked through in the seminar. And I'm still not getting what I want. How can I go further? And, well, let's do an action list as we do the seminar. And let's set a turnover reduction goal as we go through the seminar. And so we just kept building on it and building on it. And then today, I'm actually working on recording the life skill, the life skills, the action items, so that each week an email is given. This is what Amanda is doing. She's sending an email every week that shows the turnover reduction. It shows, what our goal is, and shows an action item from the seminar. And as a result, people are engaged and they're getting the result they want. They've lowered their turnover rate over 50% in 6 months. Just incredible. But that's showing how I've sat back. I just took you real quickly through an example of where I've sat back and said, okay, taking ownership, responsibility, and accountability for the results my clients have gotten, and looking for the things that I can influence and I can control, and not just wanting to blame other people, make excuses, eliminating now that I can do anything about it. Folks, that principle will absolutely sprawl in your life and change your behavior. Number 2 is you can have anything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. I find that people that give, people that share, people that serve, people that help have. People that are self-centered, selfish, don't have. And when you think about, okay, I can have anything in life I want if I help enough other people get what they want, well, I would say the very first person I want to give what they want is my boss. So, because what do I want? Let's just talk about that for a second. What do I want? I want security. I want, stability in my job. I want to be able to be promoted. I want to be respected and appreciated. I want more pay. Okay. Well, if I want those things, then, and I want longevity, by the way. I want stability here. I don't want this thing to be shaky. If I want those things, how do I get there? Well, first off, what does your boss want? And if you help your boss get what he or she wants, would you all agree that that's going to answer a lot of the issues that you have? Your ability to get pay raises, absolutely. Your promotability, most likely. Stability. Why in the world would a boss let you go if you're the one getting things done for them? So there you got that as well. But this goes even further. What about your customer? What about other departments? We can have what we want in our department if we help other departments get what they want. We can have what we want if we help our customers get what they want. We can have what we want if we help our employees get what they want. And what do our employees want? They want a manager and or leader that respects them, appreciates them, shows them their part in the organization, shows them, what empowers them to do their job, shows specific and genuine appreciation to them for a job well done. And frankly, when they mess up, they want a boss that will let them know they messed up, not in anger, not with an attitude, but just being straight up with you. That's not right. Get it fixed. I was reminiscing on that recently, and I think about a couple of the leaders in my life that have driven me to increased excellence, and frankly have been instrumental in the fact of where I am today. And one of the things they did, not only the great, empowering me, developing me, supporting me, giving me chances, showing appreciation, respect, dignity, but they also, when I didn't do something right, they let me know it. If I made a mistake, they didn't want to hear excuses. They wanted to hear, "Oops, boss, I messed up. Let me fix it." Conversation was over. You go in there making excuses and try not to take ownership for it, it's over. It's over again in a bad way. Clean out your desk. So the third principle is our system is perfectly designed to give us exactly what we're getting. I have a friend that invents cookies, and I asked him, how do you do that? And he described how he goes to his test kitchen and works on creating a batch of cookies, and he tweaks the recipe and then works to create makes another batch and does that where he wants it in size, shape, texture, moisture content, taste, and color, and then he does it again, and he keeps tweaking it to get the system right where he wants it, get the cookie where he wants it. Then he makes a batch for 10 cookies and does it all again, looking for 10 batches that are all the same size, shape, moisture content, taste, and color. Then he goes to the assembly line, and now they're mixing up some serious batter for hundreds of thousands of cookies an hour. And, so they get this thing going, and they get the product coming out, and they test it. And if it's not how they want it, then they tweak the system, and then they test it. And if it's not how they want it, they tweak the system. But to get it where it doesn't matter if you're buying the cookie this January and don't buy it again for 3 years from now, when you buy it again for 3 years from now, it's exactly the same cookie that you tasted 3 years ago, because they have developed their system to give them exactly what they're wanting. And folks, that works in all aspects of your life. The way you treat people, the way you communicate with folks, in your personal life, in your professional life, in your career, in the drivers that you get in orientation, in the turnover rate, and the productivity, profitability, your system is perfectly designed to give you exactly what you're getting. If you don't like what you're getting, then look at your system and fix it to give you the results you want. But here's the other side. Let's not hope for accidental success. Look on the scale, and some of you have heard me talk about this, where on one side of the scale you've got, let's just do it from a retention standpoint, and you've got drivers that come to work for you and have been there forever. On the other side of the scale, you have drivers that quit you within 90 days. Well, those people have been with you forever and would never quit you. What's going on with them? Well, wait a minute. Let's see. They're really connected. We know them. They know us. We know their family. They walk through fire for me. They're good communicators with me, and going on and on. Well, how did we get to that point? And you think, well, you know what? Because I've done this and that. So what happens is you make that part of your system to replicate the action items that created the results that you want. So we're not accidentally hoping people end up on the far side of the scale where they're staying with you forever and totally committed with you. We create a system wherein we replicate that result. And so we can get that every time. When you think about something I mentioned in my recruiter training, every time I insert, this is something I've found, every time I insert humor, appreciation, or another expert into the recruiting call, it takes it to the next level. And I'm almost certainly, if I want to hire that person, they're in my orientation. If I insert humor, appreciation, and or another expert, meaning I don't leave question, oh, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Let me get back to you on that. I don't do that. I said, you know what? Hang on a second. Let me put you on hold for a second. And I get Clarence on the phone. Hey, Clarence, man, I got John on the phone, and this is this question. And he, oh yeah, I can help with that. Okay, cool. Hey, John, I've got Clarence, our safety director, on the phone here, and Clarence, this was John's question, and Clarence answers that question. It builds trust between me and the applicant, and it also shows the applicant that, man, we got great people at our company, and they're all very helpful and professional and knowledgeable. And Clarence gets done. He says, man, I tell you what, I'd be glad to. You got any more questions, John? Feel free to give me a call, and look forward to helping you and seeing you on our fleet. Talk to you later. And he hangs up, and I continue moving down the road. It takes it to the next level every time that I've done that. So, folks, I hope when we start thinking about these 3 life skills, and there's some other life skills that absolutely can change everything, absolutely. But I want to tell you, at Impact, we live by this. Living above the line, we take ownership, responsibility, and accountability for our actions and the results we get from them. We can have anything in life we want if we help enough other people get what they want, and our system is perfectly designed to give us exactly what we're getting. With that, I think we are out of time, and I appreciate you guys on. We have 979 companies now registered for the Recruiting Insider. And folks, I do not take that lightly, and look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.